Alright, so I've never done a tutorial before, so please bear with me. This is why I usually do time-lapse, because I forget to talk during videos and all that. So this is the face mask tutorial. You'll take your pattern. You can purchase them on my website, thenakeddogboutique.com. This is the largest one. I'm making this one for my husband. So I just took some scraps that I had, I laid it down, I traced it, and then cut it out. You want to make sure you have 2 pieces. There you go, 2 pieces. And then for the back of it, you can use the same fabric, or I like to use white, so that way you can tell which one or which side you've already put towards your face. And if it's getting too dirty, then you can, wash it. So I have little tick marks on here because the inside piece, you want it to be shorter than the outside piece. So go ahead and trace it. If you don't have tick marks on yours, it's fine. Just stop about 1 inch. And you can always fix it once you start sewing it. So it's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be exact. So this is going to be your inside piece. And then go ahead and cut that out. The best fabric to use for face masks is just 100% cotton. You don't want anything too stretchy. You don't want anything too hot. If you're going to use something inside of the face mask, you're going to cut from this piece. So that way it's short as well. My husband said he didn't want the insert, but he works with people all day, so he's getting it. So you take whatever you're going to use as your insert, your filler, and then you just put your pattern down again. I've used multiple things inside, so it just depends on what you like. Some of the stuff I used was way too thick. I just went off of what I could get in the store since everything's pretty much sold out. So go ahead and cut around that. Doesn't have to be perfect and beautiful. You'll fix it sewing. So now you want to take all your pieces and you want to put them so the right sides are together. For the white, it doesn't really matter. For this one, it doesn't really matter. But for this, you have to have your right sides together, and this one 100% matters. So get your right sides together, and then you're going to take it, you're just going to do a straight stitch all the way down. And I like to back up. And then you back up, go over it again, because I think that strengthens it. No idea, but that's how I do it. So then you want to cut your little tails off so they're not hanging around. And then you're going to flip this piece over just a little bit, probably like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, iron it down, flip it over, make sure it's even, iron it down. And this is so that way your edges do not fray. And then you're going to just sew a line straight down. Same on the other side. Again, don't forget to cut your little tails off. If you forget them, it's not a big deal. So most of the time they'll hide, or you can cut them at the end once you're done with everything. So this part is kind of a pain. You're going to flip it so that way it's the right way. And then iron it down. And you want to reinforce the seam. And so you're going to go over your seam with a straight stitch and making sure it all goes one way. So lay it flat, This is why I use the same color thread for the most part, because if it's crooked, nobody's gonna tell. All right, again, cut your tails. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but there's that nice line around the edge or down the middle, and that just reinforces the seam, so if it pulls or anything like that. So now put this one aside, and then take your white or your back, whatever color you want to use as the back, same thing, you're gonna go down. This one you do not have to reinforce the middle for. This is the one that goes up against your face, so you're not gonna see it. So now for this one, you're gonna flip it over a little bit and flip it again. Iron it down, flip it over, and flip it again. Make sure it's even. Slide it through. Other side. And see, for this side I missed the actual fabric, so I'm just gonna go back. It's so hard to tell when it's just white. You just go back over it. It happens. Cut all your tails. And so now if you're doing the insert, then you just sew this one. You don't have to sew the ends, you're just sewing the middle. If you're not doing an insert, you can just skip this step. All right, so now we have all of our pieces, the insert if you're using it, your back piece, and your front piece. So now you're gonna take your front piece and your insert if you're using it. In your insert, you want it to look like it's the right way, and place it inside. And just line it up with it. Doesn't have to be exact, it'll look great once you finish. And then if you're not doing an insert, you just have your front piece, and then you're gonna take your back piece, you're gonna lay it on top with the edge out. And you're gonna line it up. And it's very important that you have to have the right side to the right side for when you flip it. So edge out for the back piece. And you can pin it together if you want. So if you have pins, you can pin it to hold it. I just hold it together, that way I can move it if I need to while I'm sewing. So now you're gonna start at this edge, and I go back over all of the, I guess, parts that are gonna be pulled throughout the day. So back over this piece, back over, and then go to the next side, back over, back over, back over, cut all your tails, and then if you have the insert, I just cut the excess piece off without cutting the seam. If you cut the seam, you're gonna have to re-sew it. And make sure not to cut the other fabric. All right, so now you're gonna take these two pieces and you're gonna flip it. So you want the white or whatever back color on the back, and you want your front on the front and your middle in the middle. And so now you're gonna flatten it out. And I use my little turning stick for this part as well. And then I iron it, but you want to fold this piece over your little edges, so we're gonna sew those. So iron, 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 next side, fold over, iron, iron away, there you go. That's as flat as it is right now. So then you're gonna start from an end and make sure you sew this piece down so it's not flopping around. So put it down, sew. Once you go over your little bump, you're gonna back up, come back over, bump, back over, little bump, so back over, and you're at the end, so you're back and forward. And I go back and forward just to reinforce it, especially since most people are wearing these all day and you want them to last. You want all the seams to last without ripping. And I mean, I do this on the collars and the bandanas and stuff too, because I just like stuff to last. Okay, once you're done going around the whole mask, you're gonna cut your tails off again. And then the final step that you're gonna do before you put the elastic on is you're gonna fold these over, but do not fold it over this. This is your pocket. So if you're not gonna have one that has a filter in it, so mine has a filter, so I could technically sew over this, which I'm going to. But if you're not and you want the pocket, you have to sew it here so that way you can still get your hand in there, so that way you can use it. So I'm gonna sew over, but if you don't have a filter in it, you need to leave it open, at least one side. So you fold it over, and then I iron it down. And then I follow the line that I already had. Same with the other side. Cut your tails. And there you go. You have your face mask, which is double-sided, durable, soft, with or without your filter pocket. And then you have your little holes on the sides, so you can slip in elastic or a shoelace or however you want to do it if you're going to tie it around your head. So if you're just going to use normal elastic like I do, I take a piece, however long you want to make it for your face. I think I do 9 inches for my head and 10.5 for my husband's head. And then you just slip it through, and sometimes it doesn't want to go through, and I just stick tweezers on the other side. But I stick it through, make sure it is all one way. Then I take this, and then I just tie the end. But this is my size elastic, so I'm not going to actually tie it. And then that way, if the elastic gets worn down, it's not sewn in, you can just cut it out. So like on my dad's mask, the elastic is already on there. And so when you put it on, this piece will kind of scrunch up. And there you go. Your mask is all done. If you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. And like I said, the pattern PDF is for sale on my website, thenakeddogBoutique.com. You'll get your small, medium size, which is not very small. This size is for larger adults. I like normal adults. Pretty much everybody, if you have a beard. If you are a smaller face adult, like me for some reason, it comes with the youth size, which is the size that I use for myself. It's not that much smaller, but it does make a difference because this one kind of goes up in my eyes. This one fits me a lot better. So yes, it says youth, but I say smaller adult, petite framed faces, even though I think my head's kind of big. But then you have the small youth, which I use for my brother's kids. They're 9 and 10. And then you have the child, which I have made for kids that are 4 or 5. But I've had younger kids wear this and older kids wear this one. So print out the PDF. Do not resize it. Just print it out how it is. Cut out the pattern, and you'll be good to go.